What's up, everybody? I know this is a pop-up random and everything, but I am in the middle of some other work, and I just found out about this, and this is the thing. I'm going to be covering this now because this kind of is breaking right now as we speak. So we're going to be taking a look at this press conference that's happening right now, I don't know if it's still in progress or if it's over. But when I was watching it, it was still in progress. But I was like, okay, I need to get a chance to actually show this to you guys so that we can actually talk about this thing. There's some new information, and some of the people that were out here asking multiple questions had every right to ask these certain questions because of the information that we will be looking at here very, very shortly. The chief of police came out and basically broke some information that was very telling, was the absolute truth. And remember, there was a press conference that happened during the time when this story first came out about Codi Bigsby missing, the 4-year-old boy that was missing in Hampton, Virginia. And now it seems like the chief of police is saying that that his department done mucked it up. So what we were suspecting and we heard through Rhoda, the reporter, her show on her Facebook page when she was outside the precinct, and they were talking with Cory Bigsby's sister, which is Codi Bigsby's aunt. They were having a conversation with her outside of the precinct. At the same time, she came in with actual legal representation. Okay. Now the press conference is over. All right. But we are going to watch the key part. All right. Where the chief of police came up and said something. Now, before I start going, I'm sorry. I just kind of popped all this on. I'm trying to get things on so I can see things myself and watch this with you guys as well. But before we get things moving, please do me the solid, because I wasn't planning on being on at all. But this is breaking as we speak right now. Rhoda and a bunch of other people that were involved with questioning having thrown out the questions at the last press conference, and we were asking why wouldn't they let Cory Bigsby's sister bring in legal representation? Shouldn't they be giving that man a right to legal representation? I can't talk. I'm sorry. I'm trying to say this quick, but you see what I'm saying. It is you having a right to an attorney. I mean, your Miranda rights. Even when you get arrested, they say that you have a right to an attorney. If you don't want to speak, don't say nothing at all. And you're going to hear it from the chief of police himself. Allegedly, Cory Bigsby did ask for legal representation, and they ignored that. That's very, very big. There was a polygraph test that apparently he couldn't say anything more about it. He couldn't get into details, but apparently Cory Bigsby, the father of Codi Bigsby, got very upset because apparently he had done something. He said something in the polygraph test that I guess might have come back saying that he was lying, or threw up some red flags. They got into a little bit of an altercation, it sounds like. It got ugly, long story short. And then at the same time, you'll hear it from the chief of police. Cory Bigsby asked for legal representation, and they glossed right over that. They totally ignored it. So when we were asking earlier, he's been there for days. Has he been there against his will, or was he there voluntarily? That's a question that still needs to be answered. We're going to look at this press conference and everything. I just wanted to pull this up on my screen so I can see these things as well. But do me a favor, y'all. Please go hit that like button down below. And also, please crush that subscribe button. It'd be really great to have you a part of the Pascal Show family. We got to jump into this because this just happened. This just happened. And also, there's another story that I'm going to be doing later on today because I ain't got time today or right now. But there's another story. There's an autopsy and forensic reports that have recently come out on somebody we might know. His initials are BL. So we're going to be looking at that later on this evening. So anyway, let us jump into this. Like I said, this is breaking right now, or it just broke as of maybe 5-10 minutes ago. So let's take a listen. Let's take a watch. This creeped up on me. I didn't even know this was going down. And then suddenly it's going down. So we're going to get to, obviously, the first officer comes up and he kind of does this little breakdown of, like, the timelines and everything. We already did that earlier. And now we go down to the meat and potatoes of this press conference. And this stuff, you need to listen to it clearly. So let's rock and roll, y'all. Hit that like button and hit that subscribe button.
All right, good afternoon. I'm Mark Talbot. I'm the police chief for the Hampton Police Division. I'm going to begin this press conference like I started all of the press conferences with this case. I'm here on behalf of 4-year-old Codi Bigsby. It has been 14 heart-wrenching days since he was reported missing by his father, Cory Bigsby. Sergeant Williams did a great job laying out the timeline of events, and he did an excellent job laying out all the work that we've put into this investigation. I am extremely proud of the work that was done, not only by the Hampton Police Division, but by our partner agencies and by members of the public who have been out there every single day with us. For that, we are extremely grateful. An investigation like this has a lot of moving parts. You've just heard that. One aspect of an investigation of this nature is that it is important that I keep in my mind all of the aspects of this investigation that ensure that it has the integrity that it needs to have. And that is primarily why I'm speaking to you today. This past Friday, in an effort to ensure that everything that we've done has been consistent with our best and our obligation, we reviewed video footage of some of the interviews involving Cory Bigsby. So Mr. Bigsby came to the Hampton Police Division, I'll remind you, on January 31st to assist with this investigation. He had his 3 small children with him.
Just so you know, this is the part that's very, very important to listen to. Okay, he drops it quick. He kind of says it quickly, and then he kind of moves on. So listen to this right here.
Around 2:30 that day, Mr. Bigsby sat for a formal interview with our detectives. The detective in that case began the conversation by reminding Mr. Bigsby that he was there voluntarily. He was not being detained by us, and that he had the right to an attorney if he chose to have an attorney with him.
Remember that. As a private citizen, okay, as a citizen of these United States, you have the right to an attorney, even when you come in for questioning or when you are being arrested. Just letting you know. Let's continue.
Mr. Bigsby decided to waive his rights at that time and to answer our questions. He continued to answer questions for several hours, and at some point it was suggested that we would like Mr. Bigsby to take a polygraph examination. Part of that polygraph examination that wasn't given by our agency, it was in fact given by a federal agency, involves, again, being reminded of his rights to an attorney, a right not to speak, a right not to incriminate himself.
Hold on. I'm rolling that one more time so you guys hear that. One more again. Just that part.
To take a polygraph examination.
Polygraph.
Part of that polygraph examination that wasn't given by our agency, it was in fact given by a federal agency, involves, again, being reminded of his rights to an attorney, a right not to speak, a right not to incriminate himself.
You see what he's building up to, right? I just want to make sure you guys are seeing the buildup. Okay.
He received and he waived those rights, and he took the polygraph examination.
He agreed to the polygraph test. Okay.
Upon the conclusion of the polygraph examination, Mr. Bigsby resumed his interview with our detectives and our partner agencies. In the midst of this follow-up interview, there was a heated exchange between Mr. Bigsby and the lead detective in this case. The heated exchange came about when there was a discussion about the results of that polygraph exam.
So, just so everybody is clear, he agreed to a polygraph. Okay? He agreed to a polygraph. Then, something about that polygraph wasn't working. Something was hairy. So, he gets upset, and then obviously there must have been some sort of verbal altercation between himself and the lead detective on this case. But he did agree to do the polygraph. Nothing wrong with that. Here comes the kicker.
I won't discuss the result. I'll just say there was a heated back and forth.
Because he'd been lying. Something about it he was not telling the truth on. Period. Something seemed off in one of the questions or a bunch of the questions revolving around his son, who is missing for the past now 14 days. More than 14 days, but you see what I'm saying.
In the midst of this heated exchange, Mr. Bigsby made a statement that I believe was mishandled by the Hampton Police Division. He made a statement that indicated that he wanted to have legal counsel there with him.
You heard that, right? I'm going to roll that back. He really chose his words when he said what he needed to say here. Not trying to bury the chief, but he was being very choosy on what he said here. I'm going to play one more time because I didn't even finish the rest of it. Sorry, but I'm going to play that one more time. So for the nosebleed seats, okay? Hit that like button down below. Send them past 100 likes. That would really mean a lot to me. Let's go.
The heated exchange came about when there was a discussion about the results of that polygraph exam. I won't discuss the result. I'll just say there was a heated back and forth. In the midst of this heated exchange, Mr. Bigsby made a statement that I believe was mishandled.
That he believes was mishandled. Okay.
By the Hampton Police Division.
By the Hampton Police Division that he oversees. Okay, let's continue.
He made a statement that indicated that he wanted to have legal counsel there with him.
Okay, let's continue on. Mishandled, by the way.
My assessment of his statement in that moment and a statement that he made several minutes later that was similar.
He didn't do it once, but he said it 2 times a lady. He did it 2 times, y'all. He said, I want an attorney. Let's continue.
Expressing a desire for legal counsel. My assessment is that his desires should have been honored. They weren't.
Okay, let me just say this really quick, all right? Regardless, I still think this man is a very, very bad man, and whatever he did, whatever happened to his son, he is the key person. He is the key, all right? He's the DJ Khaled of this situation. He got the keys to this situation to find this young boy. Let me just say that really quick. In no way, shape, or form am I trying to defend. In no way, shape, or form am I trying to defend Cory Bigsby. Okay. But things went off the rails when 5-0 was not giving him what he needed. He said, "Hey, I want my attorney now." Twice. And he didn't. And 5-0, Hampton Police Department totally ignored him, did not give him what he asked for. That is very bad. Still, no matter what, I'm not trying to justify his actions. Please, let's bring this young boy home. But this is a perfect example of the goings-ons that happen behind the scenes. I get it that they're trying to find out where this 4-year-old is, where Cody is. I get that. And I get do anything by any means necessary to get this young boy home as quickly as possible. But when a citizen of this country, in this country, says, "Hey, I have my legal rights. I want a lawyer," you should do so. But this makes them look really bad. This makes the police department, the Hampton Police Division, look very, very bad. Now, here's the other thing, too. This is the chief of police. He oversees all of this stuff. And how he is placing these words is very interesting. They ran a polygraph test. He was cool with it. But as soon as he did the polygraph test, the test results came back saying 100% that is a lie. I'm assuming. And now we got this. T-Money ain't right. He gonna walk free. He could walk free because of a technicality, y'all. Everything could go bupkis because I said bupkis. I never thought I'd ever use that word. But anyway, everything's gonna go to crap because they did not follow procedure. And this is the chief of police that's overlooking all of this. Karma, exactly. Acquitted. None of that stuff. And how they treated him and all that. As soon as he said, "I want an attorney," and the fact that he is this officer, which I do appreciate him being transparent here, I give him props on that all the live long day. But the fact that they did not follow procedure, the things that they're trying to do with this man becomes obsolete. Let's continue, guys. I heard this and I was like, yo, we got to jump on. We got to talk about this because this is bad. This is bad. And do you remember the press conference we watched last week, I think, if I'm correct? And we're watching him and Rhoda and a bunch of other people are asking questions about why is he being detained? But if he's a free man, why is he being detained inside that building? And he was just like, I can't, like basically glossing over the question. He couldn't even answer the question. So even there, breaking procedure. It's not good, y'all. It's not good.
Ultimately, a decision like this that surrounds what we will do, what the court system will do in response to this episode is for the Commonwealth Attorney. It's for Anton Bell. But we have our own obligation here. We didn't meet it, frankly. We have our own obligation to maintain the highest standards of conduct to make sure that we're not skirting any lines that appear to be inappropriate or are questionable. We also have a standard that involves every member in this organization providing clear and concise and accurate information all the way up the chain of command so that we can make the best decisions as it relates to any investigation, in particular when it comes to seeking justice for a 4-year-old child. To give you a sense of the timing of what occurred, the problematic behavior that was brought to my attention was brought to me late in the afternoon this past Friday. As soon as we discovered this, we ordered the entire command staff into the police station to do a full audit of all of the video recordings of our interactions with Mr. Bigsby. That occurred throughout the weekend. Most of us were here all weekend completing that.
Huh? So the whole weekend they did a whole audit? A whole audit on any video footage on Cory Bigsby? What do you think that means? What do you think that means? Yeah. Sure, they went and did a whole audit, or did they go and try to erase some things? I mean, shoot. I mean, they were denying this man legal representation when he asked for it twice. I'm just saying, even though still, no matter what, dude is, in my personal opinion, he is a bad man. He knows exactly where his son is. But still, by you not doing protocol, by you not obeying the laws that each individual has in this country, you just mucked everything up tremendously. They went and audited every single video, every stitch of video that has to do with Cory Bigsby. Sure.
Our analysis, our audit of that video left us in a much better place in terms of understanding what happened. It also allows us to be reassured and allows me to reassure the public that the charges that were filed against Mr. Bigsby are appropriate.
Okay.
Mr. Bigsby is the only person that we've found evidence against to indicate we need to continue to pay attention to him in order to find out where Codi Bigsby might be and what may have happened to him. Nothing that occurred has shaken my confidence surrounding whether or not we've paid attention to the right person or whether or not we've missed some key detail. We have not. Our investigation is sound. Moving forward, we will continue to look at all the evidence. Many of you have reported some of the work that we did this weekend. We are searching different areas of the city. We are exploring the forensic evidence even further. We're continuing to take this investigation wherever the facts are going to take us.
Okay. So then what are the facts then? Are you just doing a press conference to let us know that you guys did some dirty things to this suspect? That if you just follow procedure, maybe we would be a little bit further along with finding out where Cody is? I mean, you know, obviously it's a woulda, coulda, shoulda situation, right? But at the same time, bruh, this dude was asking for a lawyer and they said no. It makes you wonder if they've done this to other suspects or criminals before.
I deeply regret what I found out on Friday. Make no mistake about it.
Of course you do.
I am,
of course you regret it,
extremely disappointed with not only having to be the distraction that I spoke of previously, but I'm disappointed that we have done anything that may have slowed us down on our quest to bring justice to this child.
I'm going to say this. I don't remember the day. It was last week, but we covered this press briefing. He knew then. He knew then. I don't remember what day it was, but let's be real. He knew. And what sucks is now their mess up is overshadowing searching for this little boy. They have to waste their time coming out with this kind of information, which I do appreciate the transparency of this information. But does this bring this kid home safer and faster? No, it doesn't. It just shows the corruption within the Hampton Police Department.
That will be handled appropriately. Anybody who didn't live up to the standards that are important to us will be held accountable. And we will make sure that we continue to work as hard as we possibly can to bring more facts forward in this case and ultimately bring some degree of justice.
Gee.
With that, I will take your questions.
Okay, so real quick before we look at these questions, because I haven't seen any of the questions myself at all. I just saw this piece and then I jumped on and went live with y'all, with my fam, because I wanted you guys to witness this as well. So instead of us looking for this little black 4-year-old boy, we are listening to their chief of police saying, I've been aware of these things just now. There were requests that were completely glossed over, and we need to talk about those things rather than it being we have more information about Codi Bigsby and his whereabouts. We're in the middle of doing that. This case is now now we're just trying to find the body, or we have cadaver dogs coming out, so on and so forth. But no. He's coming on to tell us that he is completely screwed up, or his cops are screw-ups, and they did not follow procedure, and they did not follow the law. And aren't they law enforcers? The enforcers of law to protect and serve under the gaze and the guise of the law. And this citizen, Cory Bigsby, regardless if he's a good man or bad man, asked for representation twice. He cooperated in the very beginning, but then as soon as that polygraph test showed that something was up, he asked for representation. Now, I get it. Law enforcement sitting there probably salivating. They smell blood. They want to attack, and they want to eat what they kill so that they can get further in this missing person's case. It's a 4-year-old child, right? You want to do everything you can. But as soon as that man squawks, I want legal representation, you have to abide by that. You have to give him his legal representation. We saw it the other night. Real quick. We saw it the other day with Rhoda on her show, doing her live. Shout out to Rhoda. All right. She killed that. There was information there that we saw. They were outside of that police department. And as Cory Bigsby's sister leaves with the lawyer's sitting there going, the cops aren't even letting us go in there. That doesn't make any sense. And then, of course, Rhoda asked a very good question. Did he waive his rights? Did he waive his right to an attorney? Did he just say it's all right? Let's keep going? Or did he actually ask for representation? We all saw it in Technicolor, in 5K. I think. No, it's 4K. In 4K. We all saw it in live Technicolor. The lawyer's sitting there going, they told me that I can't even go in there. The hell? Why can't he go in there? That makes no damn sense. If that's his legal representation, then he has the right to have an attorney. So then, flash forward, I think it was the next day or the day after. I don't know. It all is kind of a blur. But anyway, there's a press briefing. Same chief of police, Chief Talbot, goes up there, starts having the conversation. Rhoda asked the same question. She predicted it. She called it. She's like, hey, is he getting representation? Is he getting the representation that he deserves? And he's like, I'm not at liberty to say that. Is he being detained? Is he being held? Is he arrested, or is he being held against his will? I'm not at liberty to say anything like that. Next question, please. This one is the most interesting, vague, dense investigation and missing persons case I've ever seen. What I think Talbot has done and messed up on is the lack of transparency. As much as we sit here and go, oh yeah, as much as he sits there and says, I'm being transparent right now. Well, you weren't transparent for the last 2 weeks. And you're playing way too close to the chest. And instead of informing people who are spending their time, spending their weekends, spending days out here combing forests and people's neighborhoods, trying to find this young boy, if you have information, be more transparent on that. You were just transparent on how much you just done mucked up. Your team, your department messed up, and how corrupt you guys actually are. That's not the greatest look in the world. And I appreciate you saying those things, but now it makes me want to look at you sideways. What else do you guys know? What are you holding back from? What information are you withholding from the rest of the world? Everyone wants to see this boy come home in one piece. What do you actually know? Nikki Narison, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. I really do appreciate it. That is the question I'd like to know. Okay? We're going to go back to this video to see some of the questions. We're not going to watch all the questions, but let's see what happens here. My thing is I want to know if there is any more information about Codi Bigsby, or are we still at a standstill right now?
The lead detective been dismissed from the case?
We have a new leadership team and a new lead detective that we are going to have take over this case.
Is he on any type of leave? He or she? I don't know.
The detective has.
And boss, you're right. He said next question. My bad. He said next question. Instead of him actually going, I'm not at liberty to say anything, he just said next question. He ignored Rhoda completely when she asked that question. Thank you for the correction, boss. Thank you. But here it is. What about the lead detective that was leading this investigation? Has he been put on leave? Is he on paid vacation? Is he suspended? Is he fired? What about the other cops that were in the room that didn't even say, well, he asked for a lawyer, let's go get it. Let's give him his one phone call. Remember, he wasn't arrested at that time. He wasn't even detained. So apparently he was still held against his will too, y'all. Held against his will. I don't want to be. I'd rather look at this and say, look at what the law enforcement doing. They're kicking ass. They're taking names. Right? They're bringing justice for this little kid. We're bringing him home. He's still alive. Yay. Confetti, parades, cotton candy. You know what I'm saying? Marching bands. That's what I'm hoping to see. But we're wasting our time with this because of what they messed up on when it comes to the law and standard procedures. I don't want to be on Cory's team. I really don't. But when it comes to this and his rights, these are his rights that they violated. This is making us go backwards instead of going forwards and bringing this kid home. That's what pisses me off about this, man. And you know for a fact that this department has done this before. This is not their first rodeo. They just have to be transparent because you know for a fact other people have been asking damn questions. So Chief of Police Talbot has to get in front of this right now so that he doesn't look like a damn fool, because this stuff would be exposed. I guarantee you that. Damn, man.
Has been relieved of duty at this point.
Does this in any way jeopardize or imperil either the existing charges or future charges against Mr. Bigsby?
The existing charges are sound, and they are based on evidence that was obtained in the first hours of our interactions with Mr. Bigsby. I've been in contact with the Commonwealth attorney extensively, including right before I walked into this room. I believe that he will say more about that. We feel confident that those charges are appropriate and will stand.
At an initial press conference, you went on record and said that he was there completely voluntarily. So at that point, had you not looked at any of the interrogation video?
That is correct. You know, just to be clear, reviewing nearly 100 hours of video was a Herculean task that required more than a dozen staff members who spent most of their weekend here. It was a big effort. It is just not viable to routinely view every second of videotape. It's not viable. But that's not an excuse for anything. My comments that I made previously were made based on, frankly, bad information, and that just can't happen. And we will do everything that we need to do to make sure it doesn't happen again.
So since he was a lead detective, had he worked on any other high-profile missing cases like this, where he would have been put in similar situations and then it did act, appropriately?
Again, a full internal affairs investigation will be conducted. Just like we paid attention to the facts in assessing Cory Bigsby's relationship to what happened here, we need to look at the facts to see exactly how everybody's behavior has impacted this investigation. It is too soon to say whether or not the mistakes that were made were intentional, or if there is simply a different legal interpretation that is causing this dismay and my unhappiness, frankly. We have a lot of work to do to figure out exactly what occurred. And until we do that work, we're not going to be able to say whether or not this could impact other cases. But that is certainly something that I'm tracking and we need to pay attention to.
Yep. It's a very good point. There's what does this apply to every single to other cases, or did they only do it this one time on Cory Bigsby? I'll say this: no, this isn't their first rodeo. They've done this before, and I hate to say this, but that sheds a little light on the chief of police here too. If they have been doing this all under the radar and he didn't know any of this at all, and he just found out about this one right now, question remains, how did he know about this one? How did it come to light? who came to him and told him the truth. And why hadn't they come to him in other cases before? Because you know for a fact this is not the first time. Seriously, this is not the first time. Thank God he's out here being transparent about it right now. But another question pops up. Why did he come out and say this now? Why this one of all cases? Because we already saw things that happened on the outside through that live feed that Rhoda did. How many other cases have they done this to? We may never know, but this is just sad.
Was he still at the police station willingly up until he was arrested?
So the question of whether or not he was here willingly ultimately seems like a simple question to answer yes or no.
Okay.
But the way that our criminal justice system works, it happens to be a question for the Commonwealth attorney to answer. And I would prefer to allow him to make that assessment.
Okay. So you heard that. That was a very good question. Was he here against his will? And what does Chief Talbot say? Don't know if I could say that. I don't know. He's very trained. He could easily just say, nah, we held him here. We held him here. He was there for days, by the way, guys. Days. It wasn't just a coming in, having a couple of coffees and donuts with them and just, shooting the verbal ish with the 5-0. He was there for days. And I honestly think he thought he could not leave. And now you got, as Chacha B just said, you see Officer Talbot, you see Chief Officer Talbot glossing over it, skirting the issue rather than just being transparent here. But he also has a job to obtain and hold on to as well. I'll tell you this right here, this ish right here, bruh, this sounds like a confession so that he can be terminated. I wouldn't be surprised that after this press briefing, he doesn't put out a letter of resignation, stepping down as gracefully as he can. Because this is embarrassing. And he's the lead. He's the head of the department. Yikes, bruh.
In court documents, it said that he had confessed to police about leaving the children home alone. That's where those child neglect charges came from.
All right.
Did he confess that before or after he asked for legal counsel?
Before.
Okay.
Before.
We don't know if that's true, but I would love to see them put out the Herculeum or whatever, the mammoth amount of videos and hours, right, that they did interrogating this guy. I would love to see this. I would love for that footage to leak and be out here for us to watch for ourselves, because this is. We get that he's being transparent, but how transparent is he being about being transparent? You feel me?
Could you confirm what date was it that he had the polygraph, and when did that request happen for legal counsel?
The polygraph examination occurred somewhere after 10 p.m. on January 31st. He made the request that I've alluded to, where he mentions an attorney, on February 1st, somewhere after 4 o'clock in the morning.
We were told family got involved and kind of, asked for an attorney ahead of time. Can you speak to when that happened compared to when he actually asked for one himself?
I can't. I don't know precisely when the family got involved. I can tell you that Mr. Bigsby's, just to restate, Mr. Bigsby's request came around 4:13 in the morning on February 1st, and again at around 4:20 on February 1st.
You mentioned that he was there with his 3 children. Do they play a role in this at all? I mean, if they were there with him, and I know you guys probably trying to ask them some questions, where did they stand with this then?
I'd rather not comment on our interactions with his children, other than I'd like to repeat what I said previously, that they're doing well right now.
That's good.
And I'd like to leave it at that.
Fair
As
enough.
far as the search from now into the future, I've heard from different search parties, volunteers in the community that are helping. They want to know, are their efforts worth it? I mean, they want to search for him, but they don't even know if they're searching in the right areas. Should they keep going if they're volunteering, or what do you have to say to that?
Keep going. Keep going. This is all of our obligation. We're all here for Codi Bigsby. I don't know if those efforts will be fruitful, but what do? Do you sit and do nothing? I don't think so. I think that we all have to consider what we might be able to do that's helpful. I believe that the number of people that have decided on their own to traipse about in the woods and dig through marshes and all these other things, God bless them. Keep going.
Remember, we had this conversation this morning or a couple hours ago with Bare Hands Baran of Wildlife Command Center, right? We were sitting there talking about this and saying, hey, do the police know more than what they're letting off? Right now, as far as transparency goes, I'm hoping to God that the Chief Talbot is being transparent here. But even so, he says, keep searching, keep looking, go through all the crazy stuff, all the areas that we haven't gone through, which still confirms my theory that they don't really know anything at all. That maybe Cory Bigsby doesn't remember. Maybe he doesn't know the information, or maybe he's just withholding that information and no one's making him talk. But the police are just as in the dark as we are.
Can you speak to a jacket that was found, a toddler-sized jacket on Saturday? Do you
Here we
all
go.
know if that is tied to Cody's case or if it was just a random jacket?
We do not know. We are investigating.
Man.
Do you have any more information about the last time Cody was confirmed to be seen? Has that been confirmed when you're watching?
I don't have information that I believe I can rely upon to answer that question.
Is your team currently investigating any remains being found in the city right now?
Yes,
Do you have any reason to believe they could be Cody's?
I do not have any reason to believe they could be Cody's. No.
Adult bodies, adult remains.
Why Cory Bigsby was denied legal counsel initially?
That has to be investigated. I do not know. I do not have a good answer to that question. I don't have an answer that I'm confident in. At some point, I'll need to be confident and I'll need to understand that much better than I do now.
Do you feel like this could build a distrust between the department, the case, and the community?
Yes.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Oh my God. Come on. Of course this builds a distrust. Okay? Of course this builds distrust between the public and 5-0. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It could. And I'm here to avoid that and to talk openly about what happened and to transparently lay out what occurred. This is something that we uncovered. This was not something that was exposed. We did our own audit. We looked at our own conduct, and we've decided we didn't meet the standard that we need to adhere to. It is sad but true. There's no insurance policy against the human condition. There are several hundred people in this organization. Many of them have been involved in one aspect or another in the investigation. And when you have an investigation of this magnitude, sooner or later, you're going to run into something that isn't what you wanted it to be. That's what we have now. That's not to say that you're always going to find what you would deem to be misconduct, but my experience has been that this is a very difficult business, and these types of things are possible.
So when you think about an interrogation between the lead detective and Bigsby, were there others watching that interrogation, maybe through video or a window of some sort that saw it? And so does that mean, and if so, are other officers also being investigated and maybe placed on leave or maybe dismissed as well?
Good question.
There are a number of people in my organization that need to be called to account for the answers to those questions. We do have policies and systems in place that should have allowed us to do better than we did. We also, frankly, had a case here in which an experienced detective is doing his job, has done great work throughout his career, and to some degree, you want to be able to rely upon that. All that broke down somehow, and we need to spend some time figuring out how it broke down, why it broke down, and putting things in place so that it doesn't happen again.
How long has that lead detective been with the department?
11 years, approximately.
And to clarify, he's no longer a member?
No, I did not say that.
Okay.
So he's off the case, but he's still with the department. Can you confirm explain that, please?
I'd like to leave it at that.
Interesting what they say about transparency, and they won't even expose the name of the actual lead detective that was on this particular case that was denying Cory Bigsby legal representation when he asked for it. Interesting, right? And of course, there were other officers that were involved in this interrogation. What are their names? No, they're not going to do that. They're going to protect their boys in blue, their men and women in blue. They're going to protect their own. They're not going to put out their names, and they're going to get a paid vacation so they can think about what they did, so it never happens again. Right? A little slap on the hand. Don't do that. Then they're back on another case in 6 months, doing the same damn thing all over again. You heard him what he said before that question. We need to restructure. We need to fix some things so that these things do not fall apart like this ever again. This is exactly what we've been talking about for the past 2 years now, almost 2 years, right? Now, I know some people are going defund, defund, defund. I get all that. I say restructure. I say weed out all the bad and put in good people. Take out all the quote unquote bad apples that are out here. Take them out. I know it's not that easy, but you can at least start weeding people out because it's corrupt. It's rotting from the inside out. Because when you have transparency like this out here, this doesn't make a city feel comfortable, feel safe with the men and women that are supposed to be protecting and serving. It doesn't. This is the stuff that causes protests, riots, chaos. And some people out here say, oh, no, everything's fine. We don't need to do those kinds of things with 5-0. No, we do. This particular officer, this particular detective, has been a detective in here for 11 years. So imagine what kind of rot that started at 11 years ago. Imagine. Then the question is, where did he learn it? Where did he learn all the corruptness? He had to learn it from somewhere. Was it in this department or was it somewhere else? This sucks, because instead of us actually having a conversation about us getting closer to figuring out what happened to Cody, we are talking about this. And now there's going to be a city. I mean, it depends on how the city responds to this story, right? How the town of Hampton actually responds to this. They might not respond at all, because Cory allegedly has done a bad thing and allegedly has information on the whereabouts of his 4-year-old son. And I'm sure people are going to say this might gloss over because everybody's so busy trying to find Cody. But then again, might not. Because him exposing the corruption within his own department only emboldens the people that are out there that don't believe in the police, that don't trust the police, that say, they say the things, still don't got no love for the police, stuff like that. And it can turn into it could turn into chaos out here. Well, let's continue this last piece. We got a little bit left here.
So you can say if he's placed on like a paid leave, non-paid leave.
I can say that he is on paid leave.
Is there anything specific that prompted the review of the evidence, or was it just ensuring that you didn't miss anything?
A lot of, we are not oblivious to the narrative that has been driven around about our conduct in this case. We pay attention. You don't have to walk up to the Hampton Police Division with a formal complaint for us to pay attention to you. We heard members of the public who expressed concerns. That was one of the factors that resulted in us deciding to look deeply into what we did. When we looked, we didn't like what we found, and that's why we're here.
Okay, can you just reiterate the next steps? I know you mentioned like an overall kind of investigation. Who's going to lead that? Is that going to come from outside the department, within the department?
We are fully capable of continuing forward with this investigation. What we are doing moving forward is putting together a fresh set of eyes and ears and looking again at every step that we've taken moving forward.
So will areas that will be searched from now on, will that be based on evidence that indicates that Cody may be in that area?
Yes. Now, we could certainly come across evidence or some facts, or one of the members of the public who's out and about could, like just occurred over this weekend, could say something or do something that causes us to go back to where we've already been, or to search new ground. That's all still in play.
Other than the jacket, can you comment on if anything else was found over the weekend near that?
No, I don't have additional information about that.
I know you mentioned Anton Bell speaking to some of the court things, but just on a general perspective, is there any chance that these neglect charges could be dropped and he could be free to go out of prison because of the mistakes that your lead detective made?
There's no reasonable belief that I have that would be the case. In fact, we've looked, let's make no mistake about it. The most important thing here as it relates to that question is Mr. Bigsby in jail appropriately based on facts and evidence that we've obtained lawfully? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no question about that I have at this point. As a matter of fact, based on the thorough audit that we've done, I'm more certain than I was when I spoke about it previously. He's in a jail cell for appropriate reasons, and we learned that through an appropriate investigation.
At this point, is he aware of what's taken place, and his defense attorney as well, Bigsby?
We've taken steps to make sure that his attorney is aware of what I'm explaining to you. Thank you.
And there you have it, y'all. The meat and potatoes, the most important parts of this case, trying to find this handsome little boy, Codi Bigsby. This is a very frustrating case because right now they have had so many different press briefings, right, over the past couple weeks. It's been 14 days since this little boy has been missing, allegedly. Obviously, they say that he was gone days before that. But since he was reported missing, he's been missing reportedly for 14 days straight. And we still don't have anything to bring this young boy home safely and alive. What's frustrating is that we've had so many of these press briefings and still nothing has come of it. There has still not been any pieces of evidence, no hints, no clues, no nothing to lead us closer to finding this boy, even if it is just to find his remains. It's just like he just vanished in thin air. But the person that's going to know more things is going to be Cory Bigsby, Codi Bigsby's father. That is the person that's going to know more than anything, that can help us get closer to finding this young boy. But it sounds like Cory Bigsby isn't really saying much now. And think about it, though. Could it be because they denied him legal representation when he asked for it twice? Could it be that because they denied him legal representation, that he just said, you know what, F y'all, I'm not saying nothing now. I'm not going to cooperate. You asking for what? I ain't saying nothing, man. You never know. We don't know. Why would this chief of police, Chief Talbot, come out and be this transparent about this piece of information? Parts of me think that maybe Cory Bigsby said, man, I'm going to talk. I'm going to tell people about what happened when I was interrogated. Regardless if I'm the bad guy or not, what you guys did is violate my personal rights as a citizen. Think about it. Just think about it for a second, y'all. If they went down standard procedure, did everything they were told to do, right? And also did everything that he asked to do, that is, of course, is required by law. And he says, I want to see a lawyer. If they actually did give him his lawyer, that could get us so much closer to Codi Bigsby. Maybe we would have already found him by now. Now, of course, I'm only speculating. I'm just throwing out, letting this marinate in my brain and think about all this, because it makes you do wonder, like, why would it inspire this man to step forward and say what he said, this chief of police to step forward and say what he said? Why would he get in front of this right now? Obviously, something must be percolating behind the scenes that we don't know about. So, of course, he has to step forward and go, okay, I'm sorry, guys, but my police department's corrupt. I just want to let y'all know. I mean, in case you didn't already know, I'm going to tell every single last one of you all right now, my police department is corrupt as hell. And I don't know if we've been doing this for a long time, but I know that we've been doing it on this case. So lo siento. So sorry. And no, we don't have any more information about Codi and where he is or anything like that. We just came in to be transparent with y'all, even though they haven't been transparent to the people that are locked in the jail cells right here at the Hampton Police Department. So this is what sucks. We do all this time, we put all this work, all this effort, all this passion, all this care into trying to find this young boy, and we are still nowhere. But one thing that did come out of this is the transparency of how corrupt that police department truly, truly is. Are y'all surprised? I ain't. Kind of felt this was coming when we saw that live stream from Rhoda's show on Facebook, where they denied the lawyer to go inside the police department to have a conversation with his potential client. Hey, watch this. You know what? It's a little bit of both if you think about it. It is corrupt and sloppy. You say corrupt or sloppy. I think it's corrupt and sloppy. Because the sloppiness is they got exposed. The corruption is they've been doing this for so long. I guarantee you that. I know I don't have any proof of that. This is just me speculating, right? Putting in my own 2 cents about this. But if they did it with him, who's to say that they haven't done that 100 times before? How about the other cases that they've had come into their department that was where people were immediately incarcerated without proper representation when they actually asked for representation? It makes you wonder how many other investigations could get thrown back into trial because these particular suspects, right, were forced, let's just say, to confess because they didn't have the right representation, or were forced to look like they were criminals when maybe they weren't, but they were forced into this stuff. Michelle, you ain't wrong. They've been doing this. They just are now getting caught. I totally agree. Like, this police chief of police, Chief Talbot is acting all surprised like this, but for a fact he done this for all this time. He's been a part of this. He knows what's going on. But now he's sitting there going, "Oh, there's so much corruption inside, and we need to fix within the department so that it never happens again." For a fact he has seen plenty of things with his own 2 eyes, and he has just seen it and just acted like he didn't see it because he was protecting his partner, or he was protecting the department. He was just protecting his boys in blue. It's sad, y'all. It's very, very sad. I am really looking forward to the moment when we actually just find information about this child, find this child, and bring this child home. Hopefully alive, but we'll see. But this is also a huge, huge eye-opening moment for not only the Hampton Police Division, but for every single department that's throughout this country, that they really need to get down on watching the corruption that's going on inside the departments, because you know for a fact it is going down. Just people are hiding this stuff in plain sight. Let's bring this kid home. Let's bring this kid home. Anyway, guys. Ooh, wrong song. Hey. A. Anyway, guys, that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being on. I know this is it was very impromptu, but I appreciate every single last soul of y'all for coming in and being a part of the conversation today. That was a big piece. Yes, it didn't say anything about bringing any justice or any bring this missing child home, but at the same time, this was information that we needed to know. I mean, I cover this kind of stuff all the time on this channel as far as the corruption, the good, the bad, and the ugly of 5-0. Let's keep it real. I do cover things on both sides, the sunny side and the dark, shady side of the police department. This was huge. And I'll say it again before I leave. If only they gave that man exactly what he asked for, that is his legal right, we could maybe be 10 steps forward, 10 steps closer to finding this young boy. And he said it himself. Anybody who is out here putting in the time looking for Codi Bigsby, please continue to do so. Look everywhere, y'all. They don't have nothing. They don't have any information. I just hope that if Cory does have information and he knows where his son is, I hope he starts talking soon. And maybe by Chief Talbot coming out and speaking about this and being transparent, maybe that will inspire Cory to speak up and give us some more clues or give us some more information on where his beloved son is. Anyway, guys, it's time to get going. I appreciate all y'all so much. Enjoy your lunch if you're having lunch, because I'm about to do that. I'm about to smash, about to Hulk smash up in this biznai. Okay. So do me a favor, hit that like button, send those likes all the way up. If you can get it past 300, that would really mean a lot to me. I saw over 300 souls in the show. This last minute impromptu show it really does mean a lot. I really do appreciate it. So please hit that like button before you head off. Don't forget to crush that subscribe button. All right. We are marching towards 100,000 subscribers. So I appreciate all your support and love. Okay. Happy Valentine's Day to all you guys. I'm going to be back on a little bit later. Hopefully, if this what I'm covering is stream worthy, but I still need to look at it real quick. But I'm going to look at it during lunch. Anyway, appreciate all y'all. Stay blessed out there. Be beautiful. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. Stace on the case. Thank you so much. I love you too. I appreciate you loving the show. Thank you so much for your support. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. Have a great afternoon, guys. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.